Hello and welcome BitMonger family. Jay Monger with you here today. Hope you guys are all doing well. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at a couple of indicators to try to determine where we are in the cycle. And these are basically they're trying to determine tops and where you might want to be taking profit and getting out of the market. We're also going to be looking at another indicator that I found that is quite compelling, and it's something that you might want to put on your radar. And I think it's something that really needs consideration, and I'd love to hear your guys' feedback on this, because what I'll be showing you today, the historic data is somewhat limited. I wish I could all look and see if I can find it going back further in time, but my gut tells me that it's a pretty accurate indicator. So this market has been very rough. It's been very different from other cycles. The best thing that you could have done most likely is just hold Bitcoin if you were buying shitcoins. There's a few outliers, like Solana is one, but even Solana, if you didn't sell it at the top when it first ran and you just held on to it, Bitcoin ended up catching up to it. Ethereum, for a few months out there, it outperformed, but even still on the longer term cycle, it's done terrible. So really where you need to have most of your money if you're in crypto, is without a doubt just holding Bitcoin. And I know some of you will say I'm a Bitcoin maxi, but the data doesn't lie. And don't get me wrong, I am not a maxi. I made most of my money, or a huge amount of it, off of altcoins. So I'm by no means a maxi, and I still think altcoins are the way in which you can make huge returns. But it has been very difficult picking those assets this cycle. This cycle is very different from the last ones, as you guys probably are aware. Before, you could be a retard throwing darts and be getting bullseyes practically on everything, and that ain't happening this time. It's very narrative driven. You get attention, things pump, and then they seem to dump. So holding Bitcoin, guys, is the way to go. And then trying to hold the winning assets and really having a pulse on the market. I still am very bullish on Solana. And in the last video, I talked about how I sold off a lot of my bags. Just so you guys know, I still hold a lot of those little shit coins that I've talked about in the past. But just so you guys know, they are a tiny percent of my overall portfolio, my crypto portfolio. They're less than 3%. My primary holdings are in Bitcoin and Solana. Okay, so let's get into those indicators that you should be looking at, and then I'll show you the one that I've been studying, and we'll go through that. So the first one here is by CoinGlass. And we can see that it has 30 different indicators. It's saying 0 of them have hit. This, again, helps us to try to determine when we want to sell at the top. And right now we are in 100% hold mode. And these can be dangerous, guys, because they may not all hit. And there's 30 of them, and not all of them are great, but it still is interesting to look at. One that I kind of prefer more is this one here. It is CBBI Info, Colin Talks Crypto. He's got a YouTube channel as well, so you might want to check that out. Pretty good content. I don't watch it regularly, but I do check it out occasionally and look at ones that I'm interested in. But I like this index better because I think it focuses on 9 different metrics. We have these 9 indicators, which I believe are better ones, because some of those other ones, like where they have 30, just too many. I think this one's better, and we can see it's done a pretty good job in calling the tops, and we can see each time, it broke above here, and we are here right now. So we have quite a ways to go. Currently, the confidence score, we are at 76, so we're a little over 3/4 of the way to the top based on this. Now let me show you the one that I wanted to talk about today, and it's extremely simple, and you guys may laugh at me, but I would like to get your feedback and tell me what you think, because I think I found something that could be very useful, and it's extremely simple, and it is the Bitcoin chart, and I'm using the simple moving average, just one indicator, the simple moving average, and I'm setting it to the 120 days. Okay, and I've gone back and I've looked at the history of it, and I've put little arrows on where it has crossed under the 120-day moving average and the price movement it has had. And I found it quite compelling, because we can see on some of these were absolutely massive. Let's kind of measure them here. So I'm going to go to the measuring tool. We're going to see that when it crossed right here, it went down. It got all the way down. It went down 20% on this one, right? 20%. Let's look at this one here. I'm going to measure this one. When it broke that one, it came down before it went back up. It came down 17% on this one. Yeah. And it did look like it had a fake out, but let's measure that fake out move that it had before it went back down below it to get an idea of how we should be measuring this one. It went up roughly about almost 7%. It went up 7% from when it crossed that. So 17 to 7. And then if we take this one all the way down from that fake out and where it ultimately went down to, we can see that it went from here all the way down to here after that fake out move. And that's a 24% move roughly. Quite significant, guys. So these are fairly big moves. This one looks tiny, but I was surprised because when you zoom in on it, it's deeper than you think. So we can see it crossed here, this point, right when it crossed here, and it went down almost 12%. Almost 12%. And here's another fake out, which I circled. You can see I marked them here. How far did that drop on this fake out? So it crossed right here, and it went down less than 5%. Okay, less than 5%. Let's take a look at this one here. This one, we can see it just peaked above it. How much was that move when it peaked above it? Roughly 3%, 3% fake out. So we got, we'll call the other one 5%, call this one 3% fake out on the upside move where it did end up coming back down. But look at where it came from, guys. So it crossed right here, right here. How far did that drop from that cross? So it crossed right here, and it went all the way down to there. That's a 63% downside move, guys. Massive. If you had been holding, you would have just lost your ass on that one. Let's take a look at the other one here. dropped here. It dropped right from here, and it dropped all the way down to this wick here. 37% move before it went back up to the upside. And you could call this one a fake out as well, but if you got out of it back down in here, you probably wouldn't have lost that much, or if you saw it roll over, you could have gotten out of it. But small little fake out here that we got to be mindful of when using this. Let's look at this one here. This is the other one where it crossed and it dropped. How far did it drop from there? It went from here down to here, and we got a 43% drop before a recovery. And that's it. So you can see, guys, when it crosses that 120-day moving average, it's got potential to do a massive, massive dump. Now, are we there? I don't believe we're going into a bear right now, but could it go down, 12%? Easily. The smallest one here was like 12%. Okay, so currently the 120-day moving average is right around here at a little, like about 113,500. And we're not going to count this wick here. This is on the Binance chart. So I'm going to take it down to here and see what we had, because that wick was mostly based upon those massive liquidation event. So let's just take it from here and see how far we've fallen so far. And currently we have fallen roughly 2.8% since it crossed that 120-day moving average. And we had two fake outs, which involved one of 3% and one of 5%. So we should be mindful of this. If this thing drops down more than 5%, I would say you might want to be de-risking and taking money off the table, guys. It's just, remember, cash preservation. This is what it's about, cash preservation. So there you have it, guys. That's an indicator. 120-day moving average on the Bitcoin daily chart. Take a look at it. Let me know what you think, and monger on.